What's up guys, it's your host here, Spartanic Arts DxD, back with another high school DxD related video. And today we have What If Issei Found Out the Truth Part 3. Let's try to hit 1,000 likes for this video because you already know we hit it last time. And if you guys want to know exactly when I upload / my upload schedule, click the little blue button right next to the subscribe button. Now I have a huge announcement, so pay attention here. Sunday, 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. Eastern, I will be streaming and I will be revealing my face, and I will be streaming with a fellow girl from my school, and she will be sitting right next to me, and we'll be doing a stream together. So if you guys are excited for that, okay, please tune in because I will be doing a bunch of tier lists and things like that. And if you guys want to see what ifs on Goku, or what if Goku was a god of destruction, things like that, go down to Ampopowski and subscribe to that channel. I'll be linked down in the description below, as long as in my channels tab. So thank you for all the support. 25,000 subscribers, absolutely amazing. Once again, let's try to hit that 1,000 likes, baby. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Chapter 7, Is Forgiveness Earned? Xenovia had been unconscious for over 4 hours now. While her body wasn't weak in any sense of the word, taking a brutal punch from Cyro-Org, then exhausting all of her energy in a final attack, had drained her completely. As she returned to consciousness, she found that she wasn't in as much pain as she expected. "I was wondering when you would wake up," said a voice, getting Xenovia to turn its direction. Xenovia stared blankly at the person before turning her head away. "What are you doing here, Issei?" asked Xenovia, as the newly reincarnated angel walked up to her bedside. "I saw the game, heard everything too," Issei muttered, getting Xenovia to look at him. "Did you come to gloat? I wouldn't hold it against you if you did. We wouldn't win without you," queered Xenovia. "No, I'm not that petty. True, I tore all of you on the club room, and I don't regret anything I said. But I was venting a bit as well," confessed Issei. "You weren't wrong," Xenovia added, to which Issei nodded. "So why are you here?" asked Xenovia. "Like I said, I heard everything, particularly what you said," said Issei. Xenovia turned her head away from Issei again. "I meant it all. Whether you agree or disagree with it, it doesn't matter," said Xenovia. Who said I disagree with it? I was surprised, in fact, especially that you were one to say all of that." "Why?" asked Issei curiously. "The way we all turned on you. It was just like what happened to me with the church," Xenovia started, looking back at Issei again. "I knew something that they didn't want to acknowledge, and was turned on because of it. While the circumstances are not identical, I feel as though the intent between both situations is similar. Similar enough that I feel guilty and ashamed of myself," said Xenovia. "Oh, so you mean to say if they weren't similar, you wouldn't feel guilty?" asked Issei curiously. "Don't twist my words. You know I'm the most intellectual individual." "You know I'm not the most intellectual individual," retorted Xenovia. "What we did was wrong. There's no question there. The reason I felt extra guilty is because I should have understood enough to not turn on you. I know that much hurts. And then I did the same in turn, to someone who has done nothing but nice to me," said Xenovia sourly. "Well, you weren't there at the time, so how could you know?" said Issei airily. "I realized that. This isn't why I feel bad. The fact that I turn on you, without even understanding your reluctance and thinking only of Rias, is why I feel bad. The church thought only of keeping their faith, and I thought of only Rias. Either way, both of us were overlooked by those we thought we trust. That's why I feel bad," explained Xenovia. "I never thought of it like that," said Issei thoughtfully, placing a hand under his face and scratching his jaw. "Although, I still find it strange how passionately you defended me. I mean, Cyro-Org can say all he wants. He doesn't know the truth," muttered Issei. "Because, after how much we hurt you, I won't stand for anyone else doing so again," said Xenovia hotly. "Why? That's what I'm not understanding," questioned Issei, genuinely confused. "Even in the beginning, I didn't think much of you, just another devil. However, the way you strongly defended Azia and stood against us was interesting," said Xenovia, getting Issei's face to narrow. "However, the moment where I knew what I thought of you changed was when you asked Lord Michael to allow me to pray," said Xenovia. "What? Why? Change to what?" queried Issei. "That was the point. I realized why others liked you, and the point I started to like you more as a friend," said Xenovia with a smile. "I told you that I wanted to join your Parage in the future, as I wanted to stay with you. However, now that is impossible, and furthermore, we hurt you," said Xenovia with a small frown before turning away again. Issei didn't respond for a minute, absorbing what Xenovia said. "Do you really mean all that?" asked Issei softly, getting Xenovia to look back at him. "Every word. I love you, Issei," said Xenovia, getting Issei to inhale sharply. "How can I trust that you won't hurt me again?" asked Issei quietly. I promise on my honor as a knight. And on my blade, said Xenovia strongly, getting Issei to look at her with a searching look. Issei suddenly smiled, and it eased Zenovia's nerve. Thank you, Xenovia. I forgive you, and would like to be friends again, said Issei hopefully. I'd like to be more than that. But I will build my trust up with you again first, said Xenovia bluntly, which caused Issei to chuckle. Well, you know me. I can't stay mad at the great set of boobs for too long, said Issei, somewhat embarrassed. Does that mean you will forgive the others in time? Asked Xenovia curiously, which caused Issei's face to harden. Maybe some, but some, especially Rias and Azia, I won't be able to forgive. They hurt me too much, especially those two, said Issei stiffly. I see, said Xenovia, before the door room opened. Oh, I didn't think I see you here, Red Dragon, said the figure that just entered the room, closing the door behind him. Well, I'm sure you realize by now I'm full of surprises, Syra Org, said Issei as the Beal entered the room. I suppose I should apologize first and foremost. I judged you without knowing the situation, and after how desperately she fought for your honor, I would be wrong to do so, said Syra Org. Xenovia didn't respond and merely turned her head away with a small blush, a surprising action from a normally calm and also shameless stoic. Yeah, I didn't expect that much from Xenovia either, but I can't say I'm upset about it, said Issei kindly, getting Xenovia's blush to increase marginally. Now that you are here, though, I have no right to ask, but what happened? Asked Syra Ori curiously. Like you said, you have no right to ask. This is between me and Grimmery's Parage, said Issei, getting a stiff nod from Syra Org. True, but she is my cousin, and while beating her in a battle does help my reputation, I care for her all the same, said Syra Org firmly. Isn't that the case? Muttered Issei sourly. If you must know, your cousin is a rather selfish person when she sees and wants to be and disregards others and how they feel, said Issei harshly, getting Syra Org to narrow his eyes. What do you mean by that? Asked Syra Org stiffly. What I mean is there are only so many times a person will risk their life to save you and be taken for granted for it before they snap. That's all that happens, said Issei bitterly. Syra Org didn't respond. Although I heard you wanting to face me in battle, I also would love to fight you, but not for reputation. I want to fight you because you are awesome. Because you are someone who cares deeply for his Parage, who cared deeply for him in turn. I saw you in battle. You are all united. I don't wish to fight you because that's how things would have gone. If I was in the game, I don't want to fight you for prestige either. I want to fight you because you are someone worth fighting. Someone who fights for others and sacrifices himself for as well as the other, declared Issei strongly. Now I feel even guiltier for having questioned your worth. I could have not asked for a more honorable battle. I would enjoy facing you in battle, said Syra Org. That being said, I should warn you, said Issei, getting Syra Org to look at him in interest. I saw you use Toki, so if it only is fair, I tell you that I have learnt true senjutsu from a master. Furthermore, said Issei, before his wings burst from his back, I'm an angel now, and am capable of using light as my weapon, something which is absolutely toxic for a devil, finished Issei. Syra Org merely grinned. I'm getting excited, Syra Org said in anticipation. In any case, releasing my wings broke my key cloak, so I'm going to need to go now. I look forward to our upcoming battle, though. Also, see you later, Xenovia, said Issei, before disappearing in a burst of light. That Issei sure is something, commented Syra Org with a laugh, before exiting the room, leaving Xenovia alone. He is, thought Xenovia, happy that Issei finally forgave her. Line break. Issei arrived at home and started startled to find someone already there. Irina, what are you doing here? Also, why are the angels suddenly breaking into my house this week? Asked Issei before whispering the second part. Irina was sitting on the sofa and frigid. Issei? Struggled Irina before she simply stood up and offered something to Issei with her head bow. Issei looked in awe surprise. Is this what I think it is? Asked Issei curiously as he took the offered object. Yep. I've kept it all this time, said Irina cheerfully, with a forced smile. Issei looked at the object. It was a cardboard dagger, held together with tape. Why are you giving this to me? Asked Issei quietly. Issei, I'm really sorry, said Irina sadly. Issei looked at her and frowned. Issei gave her back the cardboard dagger, and Irina felt as though her heart had been torn down. Issei then disappeared in a flash of light, and Irina dropped to her knees, tears beginning to fall from her eyes. He won't forgive me, thought Irina sadly, before another flash of light occurred and Issei was back in front of her. Issei, said Irina, with a sniff, which turned to a shock when she saw what he was holding. In Issei's hand was a crudely made cardboard dagger. Issei, you kept yours as well, said Irina, in surprise from her place on the ground. Issei offered her hand and she took it, standing back to her feet and quickly wiped her eyes. Of course I did. You were my first and only friend growing up. When you left, it was one of the only things I had to remember you by. Even if I thought you were a boy, said Issei quietly. Irina gave a small giggle at this, but it was strangled. I still can't believe you thought I was a boy, said Irina softly as she blinked away her tears. You know, Irina, out of all the people who turned on me, yours probably hurt me the most, said Issei sadly. Irina looked at Issei sadly. I'm sorry, Issei. I didn't know about what had happened to you, said Irina. I know. That's why I'm not upset with you like I am with those four, said Issei, growling towards the end. But even before all of this, before Drake, before becoming a devil, before all of it, you were my friend, said Issei sadly. I'm so sorry, Issei, said Irina tearfully. Out of everyone there, you should have been on my side. It really hurt me when you agreed with everyone that I was a bad guy, said Issei as he grimaced slightly in pain. Issei, what can I do to make it up to you? Asked Irina desperately. Issei thought of this for a moment. Show me your wings, said Issei. After a moment of confusion, Irina complied, revealing her two wings to Issei. If you have impure thoughts outside of love, you'll fall, won't you? Questioned Issei rhetorically, already knowing the answer. Irina nodded. Then kiss me here and now, said Issei, getting Irina to blush. What? Stuttered Irina in embarrassment. If you really love me, you won't fall, right? If you don't fall, it will mean you love me, truly love me. Gabriel told me that an angel who follows their heart, not out of sin, but out of love, won't ever be able to fall. That is why, if you really love me, this will prove it without a doubt, said Issei calmly. Irina took a moment to absorb what Issei had said and nodded her head. Will you do it? Asked Issei curiously. I will. I love you, Issei, and if that's what I need to do to prove it, then I will gladly do it, declared Irina boldly as she placed her cardboard dagger down on the coffee table. Issei walked over to the table as well, placing his dagger down to Irina and turned to her face. Irina's heart quickened as she drew closer to Issei. Taking in his stern-looking face and calming brown eyes, Irina stepped closer to Issei until she closely hair's breadth away from touching him, and angled her head upwards, eyes half closing as she leaned in. Issei brought his face closer to Irina's, so close that she could feel his warm breath against her face. Last chance to change your mind, whispered Issei. My mind is made up. I love you, whispered Irina before pressing her lips against Issei's. Issei reciprocated the kiss, wrapping his left arm around Irina's waist while gently caressed her cheek and neck. Deepening the kiss, both had closed their eyes, and in the moment they only felt each other. Irina was in bliss. She had been waiting for this moment for months, and now after what transpired, worried that it might never happen, but Irina was really kissing him. After a few more seconds, the two broke the kiss. Eyes opening slowly, Irina looked into Issei's eyes happily. Issei looked behind Irina briefly before turning his gaze back to Irina. I love you, Irina, and I guess this means you really love me as well, said Issei happily, which caused Irina to shed a tear. Irina still had two pure white wings behind her, and that was all the evidence that Issei needed. Suddenly, though, Issei started to tear up, which surprised Irina even more when he pulled her into a hug and buried his face into her shoulder. Just please promise me, said Issei weakly. Please promise me that you will always love me and won't turn on me again, Issei continued tearfully. You had so much more of my heart than anyone in that room, because you weren't just a girl I liked. You were my friend even before all of it. My precious childhood friend, said Issei, giving Irina's eyes to widen. As far as everyone in that room, you were irreplaceable to me, said Issei, giving Irina's heart to soar. Irina gently pulled Issei's head off her shoulder and looked into his bloodshot eyes. I love you, Issei, now and forever, said Issei before giving Issei another kiss, which he happily reciprocated. I love you too, Irina, now and forever, said Issei with a smile. And this is Chapter 7. Forgiveness is earned. Chapter 8. Enemies Tell No Lies. Issei woke up with a smile on his face as he hopped out of bed. Things were getting better once again. Irina and Xenovia had both been forgiven and had showed true devotion to him. He felt tingly inside, just remembering how things went with Irina. He was really glad his childhood friend was back on his side. Walking into the bathroom, Issei turned on the hot water for the shower, and once it was good temperature, stepped in. After showering, he grabbed a towel and dried off his body, before wrapping it around his waist and grabbed another one to wipe his face. Standing in front of the mirror, wiping the last bit of moisture off, he used it to wipe the mirror down to look at himself. As he pulled the towel away, he flinched. "Ah, what's the matter? Not happy to see me?" said the woman in the mirror. "What do you want? Haven't you done enough?" growled Issei, hatefully staring at the visage of Rainier, his constant source of torment. "Me? What have I done? I never hurt you, little Issei," cooed Rainier. Issei growled, baring his teeth. "What's the matter? Are you still upset you never got to feel my boobs? Is that it?" teased Rainier. Issei clenched his fist. "Or maybe you're just upset because deep down you know all of those girls are just like me," said Rainier darkly. Issei's fist shot out of and smashed the mirror, cracking it heavily and leaving the hole in the middle. But he could still see Rainier's face around it. "Will you die for me?" Line break. Issei suddenly sat up sharply in bed. "Damn bitch," grumbled Issei in annoyance, before feeling two mounds press against his back. Was it that crow again?" asked Kuroka curiously as she dropped her arms around Issei. "Yeah," muttered Issei, relaxing his right fist that he unknowingly clenched. "You know, no matter what she did, you'll always have me," purred Kuroka comfortingly. "Yeah," muttered Issei, relaxing a little bit more. "That's better. Besides, who cares about her? Or even them, for that matter?" questioned Kuroka. "You know, you can't fool me," said Issei quietly. What do you mean?" asked Kuroka curiously. "I know you want to fix things with Shirone," said Issei. "I know, but I don't want to hurt you either," agreed Kuroka. "No matter what she did to me, she is your sister. The love for a sibling is something to cherish," said Issei quietly. "As for the love for a loved one," added Kuroka. "I know," said Issei before going quiet. "Well, how did things go yesterday? I came by here late at night and felt the presence of an angel that wasn't you," questioned Kuroka. "Xenovia and I patched things up. After that, I came here, where Irina was waiting, and we fixed things between us as well. Maybe even more than that," recounted Issei. "Oh, is that so? Do I have competition?" joked Kuroka. "No, the pieces of my heart you hold are both very different. Irina was my childhood friend before all of this, and you accepted me for who I am, even if it was also for your own ambitions, and took my virginity," said Issei seriously. That makes it sound like you and I don't have a deep emotional connection at all," said Kuroka with a frown, only for Issei to turn his head and kiss her. "You also love me and I love you, even if it's rather new," added Issei. "That's more like it," smiled Kuroka, before giving Issei another kiss. "Thank God it's Friday. Oops, sorry about that," said Issei with a deep sigh, before apologizing to Kuroka when he felt her wince. "Well, you are an angel, I suppose. I'll learn to deal with it," said Kuroka with a very grin. "Yeah, I'll try to be careful, though, now that I need to go to school," said Issei as he tied up and only for Kuroka to swiftly move in on him and sit in his lap. "Are you sure you don't want to do something else first?" cooed Kuroka, looking at Issei with half-lidded eyes. Issei picked up an Amora's Nekoshode and put her on the bed before getting up to the shower. Kuroka pouted as Issei left her there and turned him on the water. She was about to leave before Issei popped his head back in the bedroom. "Well, are you coming or what?" asked Issei teasingly before disappearing again. Kuroka gave a cheerist-like smile before following Issei. Line break. Issei walked into his classroom with a small smile on his face and sat down on his desk. "What are you so happy about?" asked Motohama suspiciously. The usual," replied Issei. "Usual? What would that be?" queried Matsuda. Issei merely smirked, causing his two preferred friends to fume. "Damn you, Issei!" they both shouted, to which Issei laughed. "Morning, Issei. How are you today?" asked a very chirpy Irina, as she stood to the left of Issei's desk. "Morning, Irina. How's my best childhood friend doing?" replied Issei, causing Irina to beam. "Great. The Lord's President's very strong today," replied Irina happily. "I'm glad," said Issei with a nod and smile, enjoying Irina's presence significantly more than previously. So how are you, Issei?" asked Irina curiously. "Will you die for me?" Issei flinched for the barest of moments, but Irina noticed it. "Are you still thinking about The past? Questioned Irina with a small frown. Issei's expression soured for a moment before he felt Irina place her hand on his shoulder. It's okay, Issei, said Irina before leaning closer to Issei. I'll never leave your side again, whispered Irina softly, while giving Issei a beautiful smile. Issei returned her smile when she leant back. Thanks, Irina. I needed that, confessed Issei, which only caused his childhood friend's smile to grow. Anytime. What are friends for? Remarked Irina, before taking her seat in immediate left of Issei. Turning back to the front, Issei was greeted to sour expressions of Matsuda and Motohama. Another beautiful girl, Issei. Don't you already have one? Stop hogging them all, complained Motohama. At the very least, share some with us, added Matsuda, with Motohama nodding in agreement. No, said Issei in annoyance, standing up from his chair and slamming his hand against the desk. If you want girls, get them yourselves. You both have traits that girls find desirable, such as athleticism and intelligence. But instead, do nothing of which but stupid porn all of the time, shouted Issei, getting Matsuda and Motohama to gasp, and quite a few girls in the classroom to be in shock. Did Hyoto say just watch porn was stupid? Muttered a girl, and her neighbors. Blasphemy, shouted the two perverts. Yeah. Well, here's what I think about your stupid porn, said Issei as he stepped over Irina and grasped her face. Isina, what are you... started Irina, only to be cut off mid-word as Issei leaned down and pressed his lips against hers. The class gaped at Issei's brazen actions, while Matsuda and Motohama looked like they had just been stabbed. Issei decided to be slightly more adventurous in kissing this time, and gently pushed... oh god. Who allowed it... after a briefly moment. Irina moaned into the kiss, not caring that she was currently making out with her previously perverted and loathed by most childhood friend in the middle of the classroom, filled her with fellow students. To her, there was only Issei as herself at the moment. After a full 30 seconds of tongue jousting, Issei pulled back and spared a moment to look Irina lovingly, before turning back to his former perverted brothers. And that's why your porn is stupid. It pales in comparison to a real woman, declared Issei before sitting back down with a smile, looking over to Irina, who had regained herself and was blushing slightly under the gazes of her fellow classmates. Well, I suppose you're feeling better now, commented a new arrival to the class. Issei followed the voice and saw Xenovia with her usual stoic suppression. Yeah, I guess I am, said Issei, getting Xenovia a smile as well. Xenovia then pulled out a condom and looked at Issei. Too soon? Asked Issei curiously, while the rest of his class looked at her in shock. A little, chuckled Issei, to Xenovia nodded before placing the condom back, wherever she got it from. As Xenovia went to take her seat, the teacher finally showed up and was bell rang and the class got underway. After a rather normal day of class, during which Issei spent a fair time zooming off and thought the day was over, gathering his things and ready to leave, Issei was approached by two former exorcists turned supernatural beings. Issei, can I come over now? Asked Irina eagerly. I too would like to continue spending time for you for now, added Xenovia with a nod. Sure, why not? Said Issei happily, after which the three left. In the classroom, the trio had just vacated. A certain green-eyed blonde was looking down at her lap unhappily. Issei, thought Ozia sadly, before grabbing her things and heading to the club room. Line break. As the two angels and devils neared the front gate of their school, another blonde, this one possessing blue eyes, was waiting for them, who stopped to listen to the figure. Issei, may I speak with you? Asked Ravel timidly, a little surprised at her seeing her romantic interest in walking with two people, which she had previously denounced. Sure. Is it quick? Asked Issei with a raised eyebrow. Not particularly, answered Ravel. In that case, follow me. We can discuss this wherever it is at my new house, said Issei coolly, as he started walking again, now with the three following him. As he newly formed quarrel left the school, a pair of violet eyes were staring at Issei's back intently. I don't know yet, but I'm not letting the one man who accepted me for who I truly am get away from me, thought Akano determinedly. Line break. As the group neared Issei's apartment, Issei quickly used his newly acquainted Senjutsu's prowess to sense if Kuroka was there. After a moment, he confirmed that she had returned back to wherever her group was, which Issei actually still didn't know. As the foursome finally reached Issei's room in the apartment block, which he owned alone, he let the three guests in, who all sat on his couch while he stood up. So, what's up, Raffle? Asked Issei cautiously, crossing his arms and over his chest, leaning against the wall behind him, staring at his guest. Well, my mother would actually like to speak with you. I am not sure what for, although I do have my suspicions, said Ravel significantly. I see, said Issei, rubbing his chin at the thought. Well, if that's the case, I'd be happy to. Maybe I'll be able to track down Sire Org and have a fight with him, said Issei thoughtfully. If you'd like, I could set up the necessary preparations for you and alert Sire Org Bill of your intentions, said Ravel quickly. Really? That would be great, Ravel. Thanks, said Issei, giving Phoenix a genuine smile which made her heart flutter. Of course, it's only natural you take advantage of such skilled organizers such as I, said Ravel with fake hauntedness. If that's the case, how do you feel about helping me deal with the Opie Dragon stuff? To be honest, aside from changing where my money is going, a lot of the other organizational stuff right over my head. I could use your help if it wouldn't be any trouble, asked Issei modestly. I would be more than happy to, replied Ravel, which caused Issei to smile once again. Thank you, Ravel. I'll truly be in your debt for this. It was a nightmare just doing the transfer, said Issei humbly, before letting out a chuckle towards the end. Leave it all to me. I will be the best manager ever, declared Ravel proudly. All right. In that case, if Sire Org is free, I'll come to the underworld tomorrow, considering it is the weekend, said Issei, getting an attentive nod from Ravel. At that moment, there was a shock knock at the door. Feeling the presence of a certain annoying fallen angel, Issei frowned. What do you want, Azazel? Shouted Issei, loud enough that the faction leader could hear him. May I come in? Asked Azazel through the door. If you are alone, sure, said Issei, after which the fallen entered. You have company, interesting company at that, commented Azazel, looking over the three sitting on his couch. What do you want? Asked Issei tiredly. Well, if it isn't too much, what I want, rather, what someone else wants, is a rather sensitive information right now. So I will only say that someone not directly allied with us and wants to meet with you, said Azazel. Why do I get the feeling that you are leaving a rather crucial part of information out? Asked Issei with narrowed eyes. Come on now. You must know I would never do that, chuckled Azazel, but it didn't fool Issei. I can't say who this person is. It's only to do a rather high standing in the world, said Azazel truthfully. I see, said Issei slowly. Well, that's all I had to say for you for now. See you around, said Azazel before leaving. So, anything you guys want to do now? Asked Issei curiously. Not particularly, since you said it too soon for us to make a baby, said Xenovia, getting both Irina and Ravel to widen their eyes. Xenovia, you are still too forward, exclaimed Irina. Such improper behavior, commented Ravel, appearing affronted. Any other suggestions? Asked Issei. After a brief pause, Issei proposed an idea. Well, we could always head to the underworld. Maybe Sire Org is free and I can have a fight now, as well as whatever Lady Phoenix wants, suggested Issei. Well, I don't mind, but it is a good idea for two angels to come to the underworld, asked Xenovia. True, such a movement could cause discontent, especially since some are disgruntled that the Red Dragon has now defected to heaven. They may try something, if not against you, probably against Irina, said Ravel hesitantly. That's fine. Anyone who tries to fight me will understand why you shouldn't provoke those who can use your weakness against you, and if anyone tries to touch Irina, I'll smite them where they stand, said Issei calmly before growling towards the end. Irina's heart soared at this, with Ravel and Xenovia both hoping no one actually tried anything. Very well then, we can head off at once, said Ravel, as she stood up and mentioned for the rest of them to gather before utilizing a special magic circle, which would carry all of the types of supernatural creatures to the underworld. Line break. The four reappeared outside the Phoenix's manor, while Xenovia, Irina, and Issei glanced around in interest. Ravel walked up to the gates and spoke with the guard stationed there after a brief conversation. The gates opened and Ravel gestured for the three to follow her. Any problems? Asked Issei curiously as he examined the land of the Phoenix clan. No, there was some hesitancy at your presence, but my assurance was enough to dissuade all any ill thoughts towards you and Irina, replied Ravel succinctly. As the quadrant entered the manor, Irina and Xenovia looked around in surprise, while Issei simply raised an eyebrow. It is very lavish, commented Issei, seeing enough gold to buy a continent in a hallway alone. The ceiling was very high, easily more than 10 meters above ground level. The hallway was expensive, so much that it felt though it was a room by itself. Dozens of phoenix statues, made it out of pure gold, and were placed on every few meters, somehow able to remain solid, even with brightly burning flames within the mouth of each sculpture. Yes. Well, it has been built upon generations of Phoenix Clan members. Some of fixtures in the building are older than current Satans, and some are only as old as you. The Phoenix deals with regeneration, and from the ashes this is reflected in the design of the structure, explained Ravel. Come, I will show you two around and I will alert my mother, Issei. Please remain here for someone to take you to mother, requested Ravel before leading Irina and Xenovia away. Issei stood there in silence, merely examining the luxurious hallway in interest. After a minute had passed, Issei's guide arrived, and it was certainly not someone he was expecting. Hello, Red Dragon. We meet again, said Riser, one of Ravel's older brothers, and someone who Issei had beaten the stuffing out of in the past. How are you, Riser? I recall you had been traumatized by somewhat, inquired Issei blankly. Riser grimaced at the reminder of his past before moving it past it. In any case, I will take you to mother. Please follow me, said Riser before turning on his heel, with Issei following. As the two walked, only the sound of their light footfalls was heard. The tension was rather heavy between the two for a different reason. Eventually, Riser broke the silence. I realize this is personal, but I am curious, and given the state of things, I do believe I have some personal stake in it as well, stated Riser before Issei interjected. Let me guess. You want to know what happened with Grammary, right? Questioned Issei, getting Riser to stop momentarily at Issei's face before walking off again. Grammary. How odd, such a cold manner of speaking, commented Riser. Cold? Hardly, scoffed Issei. This being a woman you nearly killed yourself for. I find it hard to believe you would act like this, said Riser. Ah, how surprising. Even you couldn't see what she couldn't. Hilarious, droned Issei. At this point, Riser stopped walking and completely turned to face Issei. What do you mean? What can I see that she couldn't? Questioned Riser in genuine confusion. Riser, you saw how hard I fought for Grammary, both during the raiding game and our battle of single combat. Why do you think I would go so far? Risk utter destruction, sacrifice parts of my body permanently, place my own being into danger, the likes of which could end with my utter eradication. What do you think that means? Asked Issei as he stopped walking as well. Well, initially, I thought you were merely fighting your hardest due to the famed Grammary's kindness, and that is which motivated you to push yourself to your limits, began Riser. And what did you think it was afterwards? Questioned Issei. Lust, at first, but then I thought to myself, that is what motivated me, and she found it revolting, answered Riser honestly. Towards the end, though, right before you defeated me, I saw something different. Love, finished Riser. I see. You saw that I loved her at that point. Now imagine me doing this over and over again, numerous times, each time coming closer and closer to death. Tell me, don't you think that she could have realized I loved her by then? Asked Issei darkly. She did, though, said Riser before noticing Issei's stunning expression. Didn't she? Finished Riser. No, she didn't. That spoiled princess that is Rias Grammary only thought of her own needs and desires. Her lowly pawn, one who actually sacrificed limb to protect her interest, was chided for not understanding her and not being able to show her his love to her. Apparently nearly dying on multiple occasions just to keep a smile on someone's face is not proof of one's love to one another. I honestly think that you're the lucky one, Riser. Despite it all, you never had any heart toyed with broken to pieces by a woman you loved and would give your life for. Now, though, if she was to express her undying love to me, I'd laugh in her face, said Issei calmly. Will you die for me? She is a true devil, growled Issei unhappily. Riser was momentarily speechless and so resumed walking, leading Issei once to who promptly followed. Eventually, the duo reached the set of ornate double doors. Easily 3 meters in height, Riser placed his hands against the door handle and prepared to open it, only to pause. No matter what happens or is said in there, please take care of my sister, Issei. As someone who understands heartbreak, please don't cause her the same, and if you do not reciprocate her feelings, please be gentle with her, said Riser, before opening the door and gesturing for Issei to enter alone. Issei walked past Riser and entered the room. As Riser made to close the door, he heard Issei mutter one last thing. I swear it, whispered Issei, before the door shut behind him. Riser stared at the closed doors for a moment before walking off. Thank you, Issei Hyodo, thought Riser as he walked off to go and check up on his sister. That is the end of Chapter 8. Enemies tell no lies. Chapter 9. Clash of the Titans. Issei entered the room and found it to be just as lavish as the rest of the Phoenix Manor. The only difference, a key one at that, was the presence of a woman who looked like an older Ravel. Thank you for agreeing to meet with me on such short notice, Red Dragon, said Lady Phoenix emissively. It was no trouble at all. I honestly had nothing better to do, said Issei, studying the woman currently sitting in a rich red armchair, incrusted with rubies. Please sit. I've prepared some tea as well, said Lady Phoenix, gesturing to a similarly fancy chair opposite to her, as well as a small table, holding 2 cups of tea in pure silver tray. Issei obliged the older devil's wishes and made his way to the opposite chair before sitting down. I've been told you wanted to speak with me, but not what it would concern, said Issei, a hint of suspicion in his tone. Yes, I've made my intentions for this conversation known to anyone. I would also prefer if you kept the details of this conversation private, between only us, said Phoenix calmly. Why would you want that? If you want to say can be harmful, I won't lie to those I care about, questioned Issei sternly. Oh no, nothing harmful, although I am glad you would not wish to hurt those close to you, said Lady Phoenix. I believe that for the rest of my life, I will try to, considering how much I disliked, said Issei bitterly. I do extend my apologies for recent falling out you experienced, said Lady Phoenix kindly, with Issei's frown lessening slightly. In any case, what did you want to talk about? Asked Issei, hoping to move the conversation forward. Very well then. I will be honest, but in advance, forgive me for bringing any up bad memories for you. You see, when you broke Riser's engagement, our house suffered for it, started Lady Phoenix, nothing Issei's expression souring at being reminded of the past. Well, with what happened, it has been tough for the Phoenix. As far as our reputation is concerned, continued Lady Phoenix. I don't see where you're going with this, injected Issei bluntly. Very well, let me hasten to the main point of the conversation then. The Phoenix clan would very much like to form an alliance with you, the Red Dragon. As you can imagine, becoming an angel sent ripples through our society. So a link back to the devils would do much ease to tensions, explained Lady Phoenix. Just why should I? I mean, I have nothing against you, but I don't particularly relish the idea of getting sucked back in with all the devil's business I've left behind, queried Issei. Well, we would require very little of you. In fact, almost nothing at all. Bearing you publicly approving of us, even just a good relationship with some of our members would be sufficient, elaborated Lady Phoenix. So this has to do with Ravel then, asked Issei calmly. Indeed. You see, as you may have guessed, I am familiar with the events that transpired recently, and to be honest, while I am a devil, I can also see your point of view, and can understand why you would react the way you did, said Lady Phoenix, only for Issei to dryly laugh. You can understand the way I would react? With all due respect, the fact of the matter was, no one did understand me, so please don't act like you do, said Issei satirically. I never claimed to understand how exactly you feel, merely that I could understand being hurt and being unappreciated, of course. I have no idea how you felt personally. I was merely stating that your reaction was understandable, not your emotions at the time, reiterated Lady Phoenix, which caused Issei to give a small hum, but not speak. However, your feelings are not what I wanted to discuss with you today, but rather the feelings of another, said Lady Phoenix calm. Ravel, said Issei simply, getting a nod from Lady Phoenix. You see, she holds herself responsible for what happened, started Lady Phoenix, only for Issei to cut her off. What do you mean? Ravel had nothing to do with this all. She did nothing wrong, said Issei in shock. I have told her as such, but she didn't seem too agreeable with me. I understand you have already told her to hold nothing against her, but if you could assure her on her innocence in the matter, I would greatly appreciate it, continued Lady Phoenix, getting Issei to adopt a thoughtful expression and rub his chin in thought. After a brief lull, Lady Phoenix spoke up again. Would you mind if I speak honestly for a moment here, asked Lady Phoenix, to which Issei quirked an eyebrow, but nodded nevertheless. I hope you have realized by now, but Ravel cares for you. That is more than a friend, said Lady Phoenix, getting a small nod from Issei. That being said, in light of what happened, she feels unworthy of pursuing her romantic interest in you, as she blames herself for what happened to you. To this end, I can only ask that you be honest with her from this point on. If you return her feelings, please do make this obvious, as I'm sure you know now, the sense of unknowing and uncertainty can be crippling. Ravel is young, so she should break things off with her now, gently. She won't be too damaged by it. However, I simply ask that you don't string her along. If you don't return her feelings, requested by Lady Phoenix softly. I see. Riser asked me something similar. and I'll give you the same general reply. I swear I won't hurt Ravel. Ravel is a friend of mine, perhaps something more. I can't say for sure yet, but I do like her. I will try to understand myself and my feelings for her as soon as possible. I don't want to string her along, confessed Issei honestly. That's all a mother could ask for. Thank you, said Lady Phoenix calmly. Issei gave a small nod before grasping a cup of tea and set him down and then stood up. If we are done here, I would prefer to meet up with Ravel and the others. Not to be rude, but while you maybe a few others are fine with me, I don't like the Devil Society. As a whole, it is too pleased with me right now, said Issei. Of course, please follow me, requested Lady Phoenix before standing herself up and walked to the door with Issei following. And that is where we're going to be stopping right around in the middle of chapter 9. Thank you guys so much for the support. I know it's a little lackluster in action, but I really wanted to hit the emotions on this story as of right now. I'm sure there will be more action in the future. But once again, thank you for all the support on this absolutely amazing series. Like, it truly is a blessing to honestly, I can't thank you enough. 25,000 subscribers. We're going for that 30K, baby. You already know. In fact, I'm going for that 100K grind. So please tune into that stream on Sunday. I literally will do a face reveal. And there will be a fellow girl right next to me in the stream. 1 or 2 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. Remember that, okay? Remember that, my boys. Remember that. Now, what if Naruto was betrayed? What if Issei was the son of Great Red? And what if Naruto was in high school DxD? Yes, I will all be doing those. You can ask me plenty of questions on them. I'm going to do the What If Naruto story just because, again, I love Naruto. I keep saying I'm going to doing it, but I'm trying to work up the thumbnail just the way I want it to before I read the story and things like that. So yeah, in Great Red, I already have plenty of parts recorded. I just need to finish up a little bit more, and then I will release a video as well. If you guys want to know exactly when I upload / my upload schedule, click the little blue button right next to the subscribe button. Let's try to hit 1,000 likes. Thank you for 25,000 subscribers. Remember to subscribe to my second channel down in the description below, What Ifs on Goku. Without further ado, Spartanic Arts DxD out.